Hello. I thought we'll carry on this water theme and this symbolic theme and other things that it shows. An animal that is often used as a symbol of wisdom is an owl. Well, there's your O. If you only look on one side in terms of the owl, think of symbolically that the owl sees in the darkness. So there's your W, which then leaves L, which is in the chance L, the part of the church near the altar. All L turned into tar, you could say. But if you can understand this symbol, this will give you a huge clue about yourself. Incidentally, if you feel triggered by anything, by any channel, the trigger is an indication from the body to the conscious mind to say, alert, alert. Because feeling is healing. If you are triggered by anything, it's probably because you have a belief system. So you feel you have a need to defend it, or it's an unresolved issue that needs to be addressed. The feeling is in the healing. You need to feel it to be able to heal it. So when you're triggered by something, that's the time to stop and go inward and ask yourself, why am I being triggered? Another very good symbol. You've seen, no doubt, all this thing about this black eye symbolism. Well, look, you've got a moon eye and a sun eye. And if you push the light, well, what's going to happen with the darkness in this realm that appears to be duality? You need both sides. As Alan Watts says, you cannot have a wave that only has a trough and no crest, or vice versa. It's contrast. It's for you to be this wise as serpents that can walk between the two. You see, if you see the whole world as completely effed up, let's have a look at how effed up. It's if you're in fear, which is fight, flight, feign or fawn. Symbolically, we can show this, and nothing is separate, it is all overlaid, so it's 4 Fs. So we'll have one up the right way, one up the wrong way. Now we'll put one across this way, and of course the other F with a line to there, and you can see what you've got there. But that is a symbol that has been very much corrupted, and you only got to look at ancient Indian temples, but you'll find that generally that it's actually the other way. Have I done this right? Yeah. So it's actually that way round. The one is a sort of evil polarity, the other one is what you would see as a good polarity. It's a sun wheel. It's also a Hakenkreuz, a swastika. But of course, when you join everything up, no matter which way round it is for the purpose of this, you got your 4 square. It's a squared out version of this. This is a symbol of Earth. It's also the symbol of you. Just see it from a slightly different perspective, and there's the X again. There's the cross. And you've got your cardinal points, your north, east, south and west and everything all shown here. But also, see what else is shown here. Symbol of Earth. Where are the 4 corners? Well, you're right in the middle of everything. This is basically, if you take away these lines, it's basically an atom. The little solid bits in the middle and the 99.999% of nothingness that surrounds it within your toroidal field, It's all atomic, the whole lot, whether on the micro or the macro. Hopefully I'm not going too fast and sort of dodging about. Hopefully you're understanding this, but just replay it. If you're not, then has been commented again about the microphone, so go for the closed captions option if you are struggling, because it only seems to be certain people that are struggling with the volume, so I suspect there's some other shenanigans going on, because why would some people be able to hear it clearly and other people not, or they find the volume terrible? It's beyond my sort of direct control, but I will do my best to address the issue, but please bear with me. Anyway, let's get back on point here. The point of everything is you. Now, the question is Ra L? Well, the is part, it just is. It's a state of being. The Ra, which is expressed in Egyptology as the sun god, but of course you internalize this is the internal sun within inside you. But it is in an energy form of L. So let's just have a look at L. What do you see here? When you capitalize on something, which is basically capitalism in one sense, what have you got? You have a right angle, but which way is the angle? It's down and to the left. It's not up and to the right, is it? It's been a bit messed up. It's sort of been flipped over. Another sort of symbolic or etymological representation of this reality. So is Ra El? It's basically a question that you should ask yourself. Are you finding the sun within your embodiment as a human, which is L? Because you're on two legs. I've explained this one before, but we'll go over it again if I can get the camera in the right place. There's the L's, and of course your energy. You're made up of cells. You've got two polarities. It's a symbol of where two cells come from one. You've got this bridging section here. So you can see this world as hell, and as what the Flock TV has covered recently is the L. Where are we? Can't get this in the right place. The L even. Hell and heaven makes 11. It's a doorway. This ties in perfectly with so much else. Now, Jason on Archaix channel has shown you that the pre-flood world is 1,656 years. That's the pre-flood world. This part is what we're interested in. Notice, if you add that to that, you're going to get that. But if we flip this over and express it as this, remember in numerology the zeros aren't counted, so it's 1565 as opposed to 1656. The external world is expressed as 1656 years. Internally, it's expressed as this, 10565. But what is 10565? It is basically this. The 10th, the 5th, the 6th and the 5th in the building blocks of DNA. If we turn to the Hebrew symbolism, the 10th symbol is Y. The 5th symbol is H. The 6th symbol in Hebrew is V. So that's what you get. Yah, Hud, Vav, Hud, Jehovah. So that is your physical body. Your building blocks of your DNA are your Jehovah. It's the vessel that carries you around. This is how things have been so flipped over. So this is your internal structure, your 1565, as opposed to the external world of 1656. It's just a mirror. Back to the yin and yang symbol again, basically. Now, let's get on to the nitty-gritty of this. I've explained before, and I can't actually cite a video. It may well be in the playlist, I can't remember. But effectively, if you give a sample of blood, that blood is taken maybe 50 miles away. The donor of that blood will be shown a series of pictures, a series of stimulations, which is then read from the blood. Now, the blood that has been taken 50 miles away will react at exactly the same time. No loss with time or space. It's immediate. That's the blood. Now, we're going into the age of Aquarius, which is expressed or symbolically as a man. Excuse my terrible drawing, but it's just very quick. And of course, under his arm is a picture, the outpouring. This is the critical thing. Aquarius is an air sign. It's to do with this outpouring. It's the outpouring from the heart. Another expression of this was shown to you as this. The physical body, when you nail yourself to a belief system, you become crucified. But if we take the physical man, what that symbolizes, put a little crown on top, crown of thorns in that case. So what you're left with is a puncture mark here with the nails going in, a puncture mark there. Both feet are brought together so it forms a sort of downward, a V shape basically. But there's a puncture mark there, there's a puncture mark there. And then the piercing of the heart is a puncture mark there. So let's take the physicality of the human body out and let's see what symbol we're left with. See where we're going with this. Now it also looks very much to me, and oh look, there's an X again. What have we got there? An aerial view of the Great Pyramid of Giza. There's the architectural representation of this. Now this is your capping stone. This is when you raise it up inside yourself. Now when the spear was pierced into the side, remember this is all allegory and metaphor. It was an outpouring of blood and water. So that surely must tell you that it's not just the interaction of the blood. Even if it's separated from the human body, there is an interaction. So what about the water? Many channels, many commentators have said that there is nothing separate. We are interconnected with everything, the stars, the earth, everything. We're just an expression of the entire thing embodied in individual forms. God became man so man can realize and remember and become a co-creator. Because the opposite of creation is boredom. So therefore, if you are a living creator, You may want some friends around you, some co-creators, because there is no loss of identity. So that is why the capstone is missing. But things are all interconnected. So therefore, if the blood reacts at the same time, regardless of space and time elements brought into it, there's no loss and it's immediate interaction. Bear in mind that the human vessel is mostly water. 83% of the lungs are water. Even the bones are 31% water. So, if you find the I am within you and raise your Christ consciousness up, you become crowned your corona. Remember, you've got a consistent theme with the atom about being 0.0001% is solid and the 99.999%. Then we talk about the elites being the 1% of the 1%. See the constant theme to do with the 1%. So I ask you, how many co-creators do you really think it would take to cause a reaction? If you are a creator and you realize and you know you are the creator and you take responsibility for everything, therefore you are not separate from the water. So how do you get that vapor canopy back up? How do you start moving the waters? Imagine if enough, it wouldn't take very many. What is even 1% of the human population of the world? What difference could that potentially make? To the Creator, all things are possible, are they not? So is it beyond your imagination to realize inside yourself that you are a personalized individual expression of the Creator? You are not separate from anything in this reality. You operate within this material reality, and yet you are also a spirit. You have an interaction between the metaphysical and the physical. We'll lay it on the line, shall we? We're on this part here. We're on this earthing plane. But we connect the heavens to the earth and the underworld. We find the balance between the two. And again, in this symbol, you find the point of it all is you. You find the four corners of the earth, the four L's. That's where they are, and that's you, right in the middle. You are the center of the universe. If only you would realize it and acknowledge it within yourself. But the only thing that is stopping you doing that is your beliefs. It's quite ironic, it's quite a cosmic joke. So the waters within us are not separate from any of the other waters. So imagine if enough of you find that capstone, because the Great Pyramid of Giza is collectively the errants, the ones that have done the shadow work, have raised that Christ consciousness within themselves. They have become coronated, become kinged. You are the capstone. You find the capstone within inside yourself. The external world does its own mirrored play out, of course. But it is all based upon you, because you created it. Whether you like to believe it or not, I don't care what you believe. I'm showing you symbolically, in etymology. A bit of a tongue twister there. So the answer is Israel, and the answer is yes. But if you crucify yourself, of course, you'll be forever asking why. Why, O Father, why hast thou forsaken me? You haven't been forsaken, you've just forgotten who you are. You remember, even in religion. The church goes through a reformation. You need to go through a reformation. You need to go within inside yourself, dig deep within inside yourself. That is the shadow work, the language lessons of the heart. Realize who you are. Let thine I be singular. Because if you think about it, it's another symbol. It's another part of this. Your mind's eye, your two physical eyes. And you've got your Christ consciousness that needs raising up again. You're flying a kite, basically. Put a little tail on it, and of course it's tied to the ground by a physical body. But it takes to the air. But you're not letting go of it. You're in control of it because it is a part of you. These are just metaphorical expressions of exactly the same thing. But you decide what part you wish to play, and I would personally recommend to go for a star role. Maybe like be the light in this world, be the sun. Find that sun within inside you. Regardless of whether you're in a male or a female form, do you think that really matters in the metaphysical? Angels are expressed as being androgynous beings because it's outside of the realms of the physicality. It is the alchemical marriage between the divine masculine and the divine feminine within oneself. To get to this point, the whole point of it is you. We all want a slice of the pie, but you can have it all when you find it within yourself. 3 is the representation of divine feminine. Now the point of it, to create 1, will require the divine masculine, which is represented by 4. It's also transformation. It is also the number of death, which is transformation, because when you bring something into the physicality, in the material realm, the clock starts ticking. And you have this measurement. It might not be real, but in this reality it is real. But 3.14 is pie. Everybody wants a slice of the pie, but you are the entire pie. You are the entire universe. You are an embodiment. You are a micro version of a macro version. But don't try and go right inside there. As Ken Wheeler has shown, the centre of the magnet, there is not a thing. The tornado, the vortex, what's in the eye of the storm? There doesn't appear to be anything, and yet there is. This is the paradox of this reality. And what are the chances of this being? Well, if you want an actual number, I would imagine the chances would come out something like that. But to transform this percentage, that ain't a great deal, but it is a big deal at the same time. See the paradox? With that, you can change that. That comes from there, the heart within you. It's right at the centre of your heart. You just need to find the gatekeeper. And don't be fearful of the gatekeeper. Realise that that gatekeeper is your fiery angel. And it is all within you. And you will find that capstone. That is just a representation of this, which is you and I, all of us. Just think, just imagine that power, how we could change the world, how we could bring that vapor canopy back. I mean, it's even being displayed about in this talk of rivers drying up. Well, maybe as more errants gather and come together, mostly water. So what effect would that have on the oceans and all the water of the earth? If nothing is separate from anything else, what will that do to the water of the earth. If you take responsibility for yourself and realize that you created everything, good and bad, look what else you potentially can now do if you find it within inside yourself. You've got a False Carrington event coming up this year. Don't be swayed by that. Stay true, because the False Carrington event has to play out. And if you don't know what that is, go and look at Archaix channel. There's all sorts of speculation of how it will manifest and how it will be shown. That will become apparent this year. I think you won't need to speculate. Everybody is going to see whatever shape or form this thing is going to be displayed. But it is going to be like the Wizard of Oz. It's going to be an illusion. But from the one perspective, it's like a last stand. It's a throwing in the towel, as it were. It's like, this is being reflected in a lot of the external events, what they're talking about in Russia and Ukraine and everything else. It's just a play-out version, and look at the story that is being played out there. And that's just a sort of reflection. It's a externalization of the controllers' fear that they are trying to stop something they know deep in their, should we say, hearts, cannot be stopped. But they're just playing a role. This is a beautiful spiritual evolution. So hopefully that has brought a bit more clarity to this reality. But just remember, if you're feeling triggered, that's a feeling. If you're not feeling, then you're not really being human. You need to feel to be able to heal. And it is worth doing, because when one door closes, another one opens. It's a well-known saying. It's a very good saying. The 11, the door, is stepping through into something else, something new, something potentially wonderful, like the age of Aquarius from the outpouring. So the blood and the water, it's all to do with life. Nothing is separate from anything else. So you can, if you so choose, and you so desire, and you have the wish, just make sure you don't miss the mark. But you want to see the wish fulfilled, you want to transform this reality, where you have the power within you to do it. Just acknowledge it within inside yourself, find it within inside yourself. It's not enough just to know it as a concept, you need to feel it. And you'll know, you will feel it, you will experience it. It is secreted from the brain secretions. And it's a secret that is known only to one. It's something you'll experience inside yourself. Nobody on the outside will probably even see it. But those that are on the same frequency, they'll recognize it. They will know. It shows in the eyes. So I hope this video has brought a bit more clarity, some understanding. It's go within inside yourself. If you want to change the outside, if you look without, you'll go without. You need to go within. Change within first, which will then radiate out from the heart, and it will have an impact on this reality. When you have an imagination and you create an idea, when you solidify that thought, it then has an interaction with this material reality and becomes a material fact. How beautiful is that, eh? Just imagine what you can do with, and what you can co-create. But please, don't do it to be self-serving or put yourself on a pedestal. Do it in a benevolent way. As Julia on Simplicity Revealed says, always help others when you can, but also use discernment. You don't want to be putting energy where it's going to take your energy, and that would be such a waste of energy. You can go and earn if you really want to, and that's exactly where you'll end up, in an urn. Or you can create something beautiful, a legacy for the future, because possibly you come back again. So maybe it's the time to take active steps to create a better reality for yourself next time round. The choice is always yours. Love to you all.